Hi guys, Bona Nature here. I hope you guys are doing well. Now in today's video, I want to talk about two different types of canned foods. The kind that I would recommend because it's healthier, and the other kind that you want to avoid. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's not healthier. It's not healthy for you. But of course, this is the best way if you're storing beans for long term. You put it in a mason jar with an oxygen absorber, or you can dry can it by put it in the oven at about 210 degrees. Now I have a video on how to store canned foods in containers for long term. But of course, this is a much better option. You just boil it. But sometimes, for convenience, we buy canned food because we can make a meal much quicker. Another reason for canned food is because it's long-term storage. Many people are buying food for long-term storage. And keep in mind that the expiration date is not by law. That's really a manufacturer decision. So canned food can actually last more years beyond the actual date. What happens over time with canned food is that vitamins can decrease, the texture of the food decrease, or the flavor can decrease, but it's still edible. So keep that in mind, that you don't have to constantly, if something is past expiration date, that you have to throw it away. So these can last for much longer than expiration date. Now, the reason why you want to avoid certain canned foods is because of BPA lining. Now that's a chemical that's in the lining of the can inside. Now this chemical is not good for us. It causes a lot of problems for our health. It disrupts our hormones, for example. And if we consume this on a regular basis, we will have problems over time. So you always want to buy a canned food that says non-BPA lining. Now, of course, this is a very famous brand. It's a little bit cheaper than the non-BPA kind. Now you have to go by your budget. If this is all you can afford, then that's what you can afford and you buy it, and that's what you can afford. You can also buy dry beans, which is also very cheap, and you put them in a container. But it's not, you have to cook it. It's not quick as a canned food. So this is one brand I found from the 365 brand from Whole Food, and this was a little over $1. It's not expensive. It's a little over $1 for this, the Whole Foods brand, their brand. Now there's also another brand called Eden's. This is more expensive. This was $3.19, but this is a brand that is also non-BPA. There's another brand I believe is called Amy's, but there are many brands now because as more and more people are aware of the dangers of BPA lining, they try to avoid that, and manufacturers are making canned products that are BPA free. So you always want to try to aim for this kind of brands with non-BPA when you are making a collection of canned foods for the future. Now, of course, Goya is a well-known brand, but if that's all you can afford, maybe you can mix it up. You can buy canned food from this brand, and you buy some dry food, which you can put in jars, mason jars, or you can also put in oxygen absorber and in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. And that's another way to preserve lots of dry foods like dry beans, pastas, any flour, any dry product you can preserve in mason jars and Mylar bags. Now this is my favorite method. But of course, you pay for the mason jars, but you don't have to buy mason jars. Lots of products that we buy for the house, lots of food products, for example, tomato sauce, they come in a jar as well, and you can recycle that jar as long as the seal is still intact. you can reuse that jar to store other products. And that's what I do sometimes if I buy a product that comes in a glass container, a food product. I reuse it again and I store beans and stuff like that. So that's also another option for storing food for long-term storage. So I hope that was informative for you and you find it of value. So please leave a message, leave a comment, any questions, feel free to ask. So until next time, I wish you good health. Bye-bye.